Today we are back with another ranking of teams from Basement Sports Talk. Today we got the MLB right after the trade deadline. We got some new guests. We got AJ with us today instead of the usual Richie and Brennan. But yeah, we're gonna get right into this. There was a lot of moves made. One of the bigger trade deadlines in the past few years. A lot of teams sold. A lot of teams bought. So we're gonna get into it and see how these teams are ranking up against each other. Number one team up, the Los Angeles Angels. It's been years and years without the Angels having any type of relevance. They finally sold some players at the deadline. It's been years of Angels fans asking for it. They got rid of Adele. They got rid of Zephyr. They got rid of Soriano. I know there's some more guys they got rid of too. It was a long list. They needed to get the dump out, and they've been a low tier team for a while, but it's good to at least see them dumping and trying to get some young guys.
They got rid of O'Hoppe too. The fans loved him. I don't know why they got rid of a catcher just to trade for another catcher. In the Zephyr trade, traded away obviously Zephyr and then got back Moises Ballesteros from the Cubs, and they also got Mark McGuire's son, Mason McGuire. I think he's a right-handed pitcher. Um, and then obviously Joe Adele, good right fielder, kind of a midway defender. Quick little stat though. 303 against the left and 213 against the right. Crazy strikeout rate though. He's like 30% against left-handers and it boosts all the way to 50 against the righty.
Yeah, and he did get traded to our Cleveland Guardians, who needed a right-handed bat, so we were excited about that. As just a fan looking on the outside for the Angels, I'm happy they're finally starting to sell, but they're gonna probably be at the bottom for a while. Sadly, the Mike Trout, 3 playoff games is seems it's gonna stay that way for the rest of his career unless he gets traded. But on to a little bit more exciting team who didn't make too many moves, but they did make a few notable ones. The Houston Astros picking up Dalton Varsho, getting rid of Arrighetti. It's a decent move. Arrighetti was looking good at the start of the year. Varsho obviously, was a big part of the Blue Jays last year on that run. Great defensive center fielder. The bat's been real iffy. They haven't added too much. They've been cruising. They obviously got MVP Jordan. Dude's been, having one of the best hitting seasons ever. And I'm hoping to see them in an eventual playoff run. They'd be a fun team, not a team you'd really want to see, but right now they're kind of at a midpoint. Didn't make too many moves, but they've been pretty good so far.
The one thing I'll say that's weird is that imagine getting ready and stretching and getting warmed up for a game and then to find out you just got traded to the team you're about to play. Like, there's videos of Varsho walking to the other locker room, just gotta be the weirdest feeling in the world just to go get ready and play the guys you just spent a whole World Series run with.
Yeah, definitely don't see that shit a lot, and it brings up a whole wild thing. They played each other. I'm not sure who won that game. I
I don't know, but I know
remember.
Varsho got a hit.
Yeah, but the Astros have been doing good. They're a team that's gonna make the playoffs. Right now, I got them in the 11 to 15 position. They could easily get to that 6 to 10 though. For now, I think 11-15 is fair to them. Obviously, at the higher range of that, but as we start putting teams
I
up
think
here,
they're number one in the division.
they are leading the division. The Mariners have been sleeping. We'll get to them, but yeah, the Astros have been leading the West. It looks. I don't think the Mariners are really going to wake up this year, but the Astros are ahead. They'll be having a good spot in the playoffs, and we'll be talking about one of their division rivals up next, the Sacramento A's, who kind of same thing as last year. They started out 500 for the first few months, looking like a young, fun, exciting team. They got the pieces. They got Kurtz. They got Rooker. They had the outfield. Butler's having a rough year. Langoliers, who's been a dog, he got hurt, and feels like every year they're almost there, and then they just completely fall off a cliff, whether it be to injuries or just bad play. But they're going to be one of those fun teams for year to come. Next year it's going to be the same thing. They'll probably start off good. It really depends if the pitching and the young guys can stay healthy.
The fall off is just so crazy. It's like if you think about it, Not too long ago, they were just in a 12th inning battle against the Brewers. I think it was like 14-15 that game ended. And then now, months later, you hear Lawrence Butler just hit his seventh home run. I mean, we're 3 months away from October, and then you find out your big name of your team has only has 7 home runs. Kind of a tough spot to be in.
I'm not sure if they really did anything at the deadline. I can't.
They didn't buy or sell.
Yeah, I can't think of a single move they did. They stayed stagnant. I know Shea Langoliers might have been. He might have been the biggest name traded this year if he didn't get hurt, but it didn't end up happening. A's are a bottom barrel team. They're going to be right next to the other A team for now. They're definitely better than the Angels. They have a better future, but it's disappointing. Two disappointing teams, and both on different trajectories, though. And speaking of disappointing, Toronto Blue Jays, who they sold and bought at this deadline. There's always like one or two teams that are buyers and sellers. And the Blue Jays were the definition of that this year. They picked up Soriano. They traded Gosman. They traded Varsho. I'm not sure if they made any other moves. They got all the names. They got all the talent to still make a deep run, but it just hasn't connected this year. They haven't. The pitching hasn't been consistent enough. The hitting has definitely not been consistent enough. Lottie's having maybe his worst year of his career after signing for 15 years with 500 million. So everyone hopes you can turn it around. They made some interesting moves, but they're gonna just because we're so close to the end, you want to rank them higher. But they're a 21-25 team right now, and they could be that team this year that goes on that 15-3 run and makes the playoffs, and then goes on a playoff run, but. They haven't shown it, and there's been too many teams this year that have fought and showed more than them this year. So, not sure if you have anything to add about the Blue Jays.
What's weird is that, like you said, teams buy and sell at the same time and time. Every other team didn't know what they were doing. I read that the Cubs were calling them for Soriano as they traded him. It's like other organizations didn't know if they're buying or selling, bottoming out, or trying to make a run. The AL's so weird. It's like nobody knows what to do or how to move.
Yeah, it's tough because you're 1 week away from being a terrible team, and then you're 1 week away from leading your division and being on a serious playoff run. And there's not a single team in the AL where you match up with if you make the playoffs, and you're like, oh, we got no shot. It's just that type of year. But yeah. So that's the Blue Jays. Next up, we got the Atlanta Braves, who have been up and down. They started the year, the first few months, they didn't lose a series. I remember they played the Guards, and we got absolutely spanked by them, where I think we only lost one series at that point, and whatever. They've had their low moments. I think they're still riding an 8-game winning streak as of today. They made their little moves at the deadline. They wanted bigger moves. The Jacob deGrom no trade clause, that would have been a huge move for them, having Chris Sale and deGrom in the playoffs, but it didn't happen. I don't know if they made the push to be able to beat a team like the Dodgers in the playoffs. They're obviously still super dangerous. I'm not sure with this deadline that they did enough to become one of the 1-5 teams right now.
I don't really have too much on the Braves besides the fact that they're kind of, if I'm not mistaken, they're turning it up a little bit. They're on like a 7-game win streak, 8-game win streak, something like that. Drake Baldwin's kind of hitting back to what he was doing. Other than that, they're just trying to get back on the Phillies' tailcoats and just try to chase them back up to the top of the division.
Well, the Braves are leading the division right now. And now that I'm thinking about it, with how weak the AL is, the Braves are definitely a top 5 team. I misspoke there for sure. I really re-thought about what I was saying, and the only team in the NL, so really the only team in the league that is more scary than them, it's not a great term for that, with, I guess, more talented, is the Dodgers. So the Braves are going to be sitting at 1-5, and we got another team that's going to be joining that 1-5 in the Milwaukee Brewers. They do the same shit every year. They trade their best pitcher for prospects. They make pitchers become serviceable 3 ERA guys, and they make the playoffs. Did they do anything in the playoffs? No. but they always make the playoffs. They have the best record, at least a top five record. It seems like every year now. You could smack the over and make money every single year. So they made moves at the deadline. They picked up Dustin May. They picked up Romero. I'm forgetting another move they made. Who else did they do? Who else did they pick up besides not thinking of anything? They made some other smaller moves. They didn't make that big move.
I really have nothing.
Obviously, Scooble was the main guy that they could have went after. But, they've been consistent. There's not much to say. It's the Brewers, and they have the best record in the MLB.
I think they're 2 or 3 games away from being 30 games above 500. They gave us Craig Yoho, which is kind of weird. It makes me a little scared because it's like a team who's steamrolling that bad. They give away a relief pitcher. Kind of makes you think, like, did they really even need him in the first place? So as a Guardians fan, I guess now thinking about it makes it a little nervous. But
And I've heard a lot of people talking about them picking up Bo Naylor. And to be fair, we do not have a good history of growing and having bats come out of our farm. So maybe he'll become something there, but we gave Bo Naylor a good at least 3-4 years here to play, and he has his moments. I wish nothing but the best for Bo, but a lot of people are acting like he's going to come in and be their day one starting pitcher from now on, and I don't think it was that impactful of a trade for them or a trade deadline in general. Obviously, they added a starting pitcher, but yeah, it's the Brewers being the Brewers, and now we got their NL Central division rival, the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals, they didn't do too much. They've been a big surprise team. Coming into this year, I thought they were easy bottom five record at the end of the year. And they balled out. They've been fighting. They're still, they're going to be around that 500 mark. Probably end up a few games below it, not make the playoffs. But they've been a good little story, good fight. I love Jordan Walker coming back and balling out. Home run derby was the best home run derby I think I personally remember. But in terms of moves, Lars Nootbaar's gone. Not too much in general on them. Dustin May gone and Romero. But yeah, not too much on them. They're chilling at that. They're chilling at the Blue Jays range, but I have more respect for them than the Blue Jays this year. In terms, well, obviously they've been a lot more. They haven't been as disappointing, obviously, like the Blue Jays have, but they'll be in front of them for now. They can maybe get bounced up, but they're gonna stay there. And next up, we got another disappointing team out in the AL East, Baltimore Orioles.
well, not really that disappointing. Some people say that the Adley trade was a little bit bigger than people think. Like on the Orioles side of things, in return, Orioles get the number 2, 4, 5, and 17 prospects from the Red Sox. And a lot of people keep talking about how the fact that Adley has been on the IL twice in the last 4 years, and people think that it's going to be a little bit more of a regression than it is boom for the Red Sox. Yes, they've been winning crazy, and I think they're, like 4 games behind or like 5 games behind now. I mean, they're on a steamroll, but it's just all about Adley.
In terms of in the division, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the division, they're only a few games back. And then in terms of Yankees, though, I think they're only a half game back from the Yankees now. And I think it might have been double digits at one point. But
it was bad.
In terms of the Orioles, they traded away Ward to the Mariners. They traded away Tyler Wells to the Rays. And those are all impactful guys, but this wasn't the year. They picked up Pete Alonso. They're going to obviously look to retool in the offseason. It's just been a weird year for them. Just always bouncing around 500, never having their streak. A lot of the young guys that have, the Holiday and the Cowser and the Mayo and some of those guys that came up and looked so good are just not performing anymore. And so they made some moves. They made good moves. They're hoping that prospects come back and, will work out for them. But they're going to probably be joining them Cardinals and Blue Jays and just that tier you really don't want to be at. The Cardinals are kind of happy to be there, but definitely the Orioles and Blue Jays they were easy top 15 teams, top 10 teams coming into the year, and far fall from grace. But we got a good team coming up now, the Chicago Cubbies.
Uh, Looking at the stats lately, honestly, you can make an argument that PCA is the MVP over Shohei, especially with Shohei not really pitching as much too. The argument of like the whole two-way players kind of like gone out the mix since they're trying to hold them out till October. But PCA's torching. I mean, he's doing so good. They're making weird graphics for him now. I saw he's like three
Weird crap.
dude. He's 3 for 3 for hitting a 2-run home run in the third inning. I mean, in the fourth inning now. Well, because
what?
they've been batting so well that they've gone through their whole cycle before in an inning.
Okay, I see what you're
So
saying.
this year he's 3 for 3 for hitting a 2-run homer while batting in the fourth inning. He's doing so well. They're just making the weirdest graphics now.
Yeah.
I saw something that people are trying to compare him to Barry Bonds on the Pirates when he was younger, and that he's almost on that same hill of momentum.
Well, I mean, we're not going to compare anyone to Barry Bonds here, but PCA is an absolute dog. He signed that contract before the year, and some people were iffy, you know. I mean, he just had a 30-30 season. Not going to lie, I was one of those people that was kind of iffy on it, just because it was his first year of actually showing up.
Well, he's about to do it again. I just read he's on 25-25
Oh,
this
yeah,
year.
people are talking 40-40 for this. I mean, last year, I didn't realize he had like 35-35 last year. That is nasty. Like, and he had a really rough second half of the year, and he still ended up 35-35. And he's been really consistent in this year, just balling out. In the past month, he just every single night you feel like you see a PCA highlight, and he just balled out against the Dodgers. They swept them, battling against Shohei, bomb for bomb. Like they're balling, and they picked up Clay Holmes. Who else did they get? They got Tyrone Taylor in that deal. They sent a lot of guys out, but they picked up serious pitching help, and they needed it. They've had so many
Zephyr John.
injuries. Zephyr John from the Angels, and they've been the most hit team with injuries in terms of pitching. Maybe the Dodgers, but the Cubs have lost so much. But they've picked up a lot. They're a top 5 team right now, and they are balling. They could arguably be number 1 right now in terms of the last month or two. The Red Sox obviously are on a historic pace. We'll talk about that, but Cubs are going to the 1-5, and then next up we got the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Well, what's crazy is you think they'd move Cattell. I don't know why I just had a brain fart. Right before the deadline, I don't know if anybody knows, Cattell took all his pictures related to the Diamondbacks off of his Instagram, took anything team related off of his Instagram, and that's clear as day saying, hey, I don't really want to be here anymore. But then they come to Cleveland, they sweep us. You have Corbin Carroll doing good again. Geraldo Perdomo, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. He goes for another home run against us. And I think they're only, 4 games behind Padres? I'm trying to think. Is it 4 games?
No, they're ahead of the Padres. They have a really. You kind of forget about how good their record is when in terms of the Diamondbacks. I forget exactly what it is. We'll get that pulled up, but they are up there in the NL, and they're number
One
2.
game. They're 1 game ahead of the Padres.
Yeah, they're number 2 out west in the NL West. Dodgers obviously number 1. I'm always rooting for the Diamondbacks. They didn't do shit at the deadline though. They're in a really good position in terms of playoff pictures and games above, and there's so many teams fighting for the playoffs every year, but when you end up in that top, near the top at least, before the trade deadline, you're expected to make moves. And Lars Nootbaar, no hate, but that's a nothing. That's not going to impact, that's not going to make them win a playoff game, like if they picked up a serious starting pitcher or reliever help. They always need reliever help. I mean, they didn't do nothing, and kind of just, I feel like a spit in the face to the fans and the players of like, yeah, we're not taking it too serious, and I can't blame them fully when you got the Dodgers and the lockout looming, but they didn't do much. They're going to end up at that 6-10 tier. I wish they'd do more. In terms of, I always think of the Diamondbacks. If you did teams ranked on their top 3 players, they're near the top. I mean, Perdomo, Cattell, and Corbin Carroll, and those are like some of the most fun to watch, talented, like highlights every game players, and they just don't have anything surrounding them, nothing serious enough, and they always fight, but they're not going to do too much towards the end of this year. And now we got the infamous LA Dodgers who picked up Tarek Skubal at the deadline. Yeah, they picked up the two-time Cy Young winner. Dude's a dog, and AJ knows a little bit more about the haul that they sent out, or I shouldn't say the haul, but what they sent out.
It's like a halfway haul. You get the 25th prospect, Zaire Hope. He's batting, I think it's like 293 on 109 hits. He has 23 home runs and 87 RBIs. And even better on top of that, he's walked 44 times already. It's like you get a top end bat, you see him, and then you read down the list, you get River Ryan. He's a 68th prospect, but he's a week older than Juan Soto. He's like a weird two-way guy in college and then bottomed out to a pitcher now. He's played 3 games with the Dodgers, and they sent him right back down to AAA. So not too much. They didn't get a single top 20 prospect in the MLB when Orioles get back 5 top 10 prospects just from the Red Sox alone. They didn't even get a top 10 prospect from the Dodgers. Well, they got Zaire Hope, but besides that, nobody else was in the top 10 ranking.
Yeah, it's just tough when you're trading guys for 1 year, not even 1 year, a few month rentals, and especially with Skubal, he's gonna get the bread, and everyone assumes it's gonna be with the Dodgers, so that's really nothing in the long run.
Well,
this
it's
team's
weird. It's my bad to cut you off. It's just weird because it said he just went on Part of My Take, and he's saying like he did not want to leave Detroit. He's saying he could even see himself going back to Detroit. So it's like some people think like there's that green grass on the other side for Detroit fans. Like those guys are going to sleep thinking that one day, okay, Tarek gets his 1 win with the Dodgers and then just comes back and plays for the rest of his career with home. Like some people even think that he just wants the ring, that it's not even the payday anymore, that he just kind of wants to win. Because on Part of My Take, he was saying like he thought that they could have went to the World Series now with the Detroit team now, which nobody, I don't really think thinks
a
that.
lot of people are saying that before the start of the year. People were talking about the the Tigers at the start of this year. Like, I think being in the same division as them, we kind of see more of the things that make them not real contenders. And I never took this team seriously as a World Series.
It's just so.
I know they were close,
weird.
but
They have a weird bullpen. They need pitchers.
They have
Valdez.
pitchers though. Melton and who else is still there? Melton and there's someone else still balling out there. It's bothering me.
Well, they just traded away Maez to the Padres.
Yeah.
And
Casey
then
Mize, yeah.
with Valdez, it's like he's supposed to be the guy who's supposed to like come in and quote unquote replace Skubal, but like not a lot of fans like him. And then you have like those bad things, but on the weird side, you have Dylan Dingler, who's already people are calling the new Cal Raleigh. He has 25 home runs already by himself.
Yeah, and so that was a little. We went to the Tigers there a lot. So, but at the end of the day, Dodgers are clearly number one. They made the big move, and they're gonna three-peat. We'll see with the lockout. I don't want a lockout to happen. We don't need to get into all that. So, but we do need to get into the home team, the Cleveland Guardians, formerly Indians, aka the Tribe, who had a great deadline. They picked up what they needed. They went strictly of what is the team's needs, and they filled that. They got a right-handed hitter in Adele, outfielder too, could fill that role. They got Nathaniel Lowe, Foster Griffin. Didn't have a good first series coming out, but I still got a lot of hope. I trust this team more than a lot of the AL teams that are fighting for playoff spots right now. I think they're going to figure it out. We got the starting pitching to do it. If this lineup can stay healthy and Jose stays healthy, if we can find consistent lineups to put right-handed pitching, this is the lineup. Left-handed pitching, this is the lineup, and can get into a flow, I really think this offense could at least not be worse than the league. So, yeah, that's my little quick take on
I
them.
just want to see Jose shine. I mean, I know it's all about getting to the playoffs and having the team go far, but milestone-wise, not a lot of people know, Jose's 5 home runs away from having 300 career home runs. He would be the eighth only player in MLB history to have a 300 career. I mean, like, obviously, I want us to go far in the playoffs, but at the same time, I'm just really looking at Jose. He's only batting, I think, a flat 200 since coming back from being hurt. It's just really just rooting for our guy to just kind of round it up at the end.
Right. They got the potential. They got the young guys. They called up Hanau, who's number 2 prospect, big dog. So it's gonna just be a lot of who's gonna step up and be consistent for this team, and it'll be a fun AL playoff race. And now, speaking of AL playoff race, we got the Seattle Mariners, who didn't do too much at the deadline. They got Ward. They traded away Castillo because they did not need 6 good starting pitchers, which is a very good problem to have. But no, the Mariners have not clicked at all. They've been lacking. Cal Riley, Josh Naylor just have not found their bat. And they've been heating up a little bit. Riley's been, he's been hurt, so it's always tough when you're in and out of the lineup and not getting consistent at-bats every day. But I'm rooting for this team. I mean, they got so many guys, so much talent. What hasn't been said about them? It's just, are they going to click or not? And they didn't do too much at the deadline to, move a needle up or down. It's who's going to show up. So not too much to say about them. They're going to be the first 16 to 20 range team, but they're right at 16.
The only thing I really got on them was, as a guy who likes to see a little scuffle in baseball, they got into it with the Tigers a little bit. I think it was 3 hit-by pitches or 4 hit-by pitches in that game. And, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but they just suspended a pitcher for the Mariners. They're trying to get him out. He just tried to appeal it as well, because obviously they're trying to just keep him in the rotation. But it was cool to just see a little scuffle.
So, yeah, well, they were beefing. That is the ALDS. Went 5 games. That was a great series. I was definitely rooting for the Mariners in that. So I could see that. I could see that series running back if the Tigers keep staying hot. But enough of them. We got the Miami Marlins, who traded away Liam Hicks at the deadline. I don't really remember any other moves they've made. It's the same thing as last year, really, for this team. They just cruise. They stay around 500. You don't really want to play them. They don't have that superstar guy, on either side of the field. But they got a bunch of young, consistent. So Kyle Stowers has obviously been their best hitter the past few years. Nothing too much about them. I feel like they're in the 20-25 range, but yeah, I guess we gotta put them there. I don't know if you have too much to say about the Marlins.
Not really. Besides, Guardians kicked off their 12-game historic losing streak. Doing so bad, Patrick Bailey. I love him so much, but he had some big games in that. That's not a bat that you see come around. But then they go ahead and win a series versus the Phillies, which is odd. And then they start selling at the deadline. They were selling a little bit too much. Fans got scared that they were going to give up like guys like Otto Lopez or Xavier Edwards, but decided to keep their infielders and keep it clean.
Yeah, I'm completely bugging. I mean, I forgot about 2 dudes that have been balling out, and Otto Lopez, and I don't know if he's still leading the NL in batting average, but he was for a while. Yeah, no, that infield duo has been nasty this year.
It's Luis Arias now. My bad to cut you off.
No, Arias. Yeah, I completely that was bad on me. I completely forgot about those 2. Kind of makes me want to put them in the 16 to 20 range, but we're gonna do some movement. They'll stay where they're at right now. All right, next up, definitely the most disappointing team in the MLB this year in the New York Mets. Number 1 payroll in terms of how much they're paying right now. And they've been out of it pretty much the whole year. There really hasn't even been a month where the Mets looked like they were going to be a serious team. And for how much they paid and the guys they signed, it just doesn't make sense how it doesn't work out, but that's just how it is in sports. It doesn't always, just because you spend the most doesn't mean it's going to work. And they still got the guys. They still got Soto. They still got Lindor. Carson Bench has been absolutely balling out this year. He's going to be a really good outfielder for years to come. pitching is obviously the biggest scare with them. There's no one really besides Nolan McLean at the starting pitching where you're like, oh, okay. Like, it's really – they really need to address that. Obviously, they traded Peralta, Tyrone Taylor, Weaver, Holmes. I mean, they really – this team starting pitching is scary, but, yeah, obviously very disappointing this year.
I don't have a lot on the Mets besides the fact that they came to Cleveland, spanked us. I was obviously pretty upset about that. And you have Jeffrey Yan doing his little dances while he gets his strikeout. Only reason why I'm so upset about that is because obviously striking us out. And then I go home, see on Instagram, I see his exact story. It's a complete video telling me about how he spent 10 years in the minors. He's got Tommy John surgery twice. His ERA shot up to like 11 at one point in the minors, and now he's finally here. So, of course, I hate the guy, and then I watch one video, and it makes me kind of turn around, feel kind of bad for him. But
a good story. I love the joke. I mean, that shit's hilarious. That's awesome to see. I mean, anything different like that, and I mean, don't get struck out. Then if you don't want to see him do that, don't get struck out. Simple as that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm never really hating on the Mets too much, but I mean, real stinky this year. Shout out Frank the Tank. Next up in another division rival, the Washington Nationals, who were the best offense. I don't know if they still are, but they were for a minute. They traded Luis Robert. They got rid of Curtis Mead. They did get Connor O'Leary back there, and that's a great pickup for them. But, you know, they kind of drifted off, and then the team was like, we're going to sell all of our rental guys. We don't want to actually make the playoffs this year. We did better than we thought. So they're going to be that last 21 to 25 team, but they had so much potential. But, yeah, they're I don't know. You have anything really to say about the Nationals?
Nats gave us Foster Griffin. They obviously sold on their all-star, so fans started freaking out when there was literally like 2 articles about Abrams being traded.
And that'd just be ridiculous.
They were so freaking out about that. But other than that, not really. I mean, they were the number 1 offense for like 4 months. Yeah. They let in runs and OPS, but that's it.
Yeah, James Wood, dog. CJ Abrams, dog. So you got 2 of like top 10 offensive players possibly in the next like 5 years to come on your team. So get them some damn pitching up. Oh, yeah, so we'll put them there in the last spot in that 21-25 range. Next up, the San Diego Padres, my favorite NL team. They traded for 2 starting pitchers. They traded for what they needed. They got Casey Mize from the Tigers, and they got Robbie Ray from the Giants.
Mize had a bad game. His first game up, he gave up 10 runs. His ERA shot up to like 21.
Okay.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, but
I'm not trying to say he's a bad guy.
It's hard. Those first games to a new team for pitchers is
tough.
Rough. Yeah, you're getting used to catchers, new teammates. It's a lot. So you can't really give them like 3 starts, and if they're still bad after 3 starts, then you could worry. But the offense has been the biggest thing. Honestly, everyone came in freaking about the pitching and. I mean, obviously they have Mason Miller, they have Morejon. The relievers have been nasty. Starting pitching has been doing at least serviceable. It's really been the offense, but it's starting to kick in. My guy Manny Machado was having a really, really rough start. He's getting better, but it's still been a rough year. Tatis is same thing. He was started off terrible. He's starting to heat up though, but they're gonna fall in that 16 to 20 range. Definitely the high end of that because they're fighting. They're right, only a game behind the Diamondbacks, but I feel like there is a discrepancy there just because of the Diamondbacks are the 6 to 10, but they're going to be like the 10 range, and the Padres are going to end up 16. So it's not too much of a difference, but in terms of consistency so far this year, I think that's deserve where they should be.
Yeah, it's really it. I mean, they got Robbie Ray, too. That was a cool ad. I like Robbie Ray. He's a cool pitcher. He won Cy Young once, I think it was, back when they were really doing good for the Giants.
He actually won on the Blue Jays.
Yeah? Oh, shoot.
Yeah, he did. I didn't know that until a few days ago.
But, yeah, I mean, really just going back and forth with the Diamondbacks. Like I said earlier, the Diamondbacks are 1 game above the Padres, so it's really just...
So, yeah, and we might end up changing... We're going to end up changing this list around a little bit, so... But they're going to end up. I feel like it's fair that they're near the Mariners right now.
I think they're just getting a little bit hot. That's all. Diamondbacks are obviously a better team, but like,
Yeah. In terms of talent all around now, though, after the deadline, I like the Padres roster definitely more than the Diamondbacks. We're going to do some movement eventually, but right now we got the Phillies up next. They got Don Mattingly, and things turned up for him. They got Luis Ariz, who was arguably the biggest. No, not really arguably. That was the biggest bat traded at the deadline.
For sure.
Maybe Luis Robert, because of Luis Robert did lead the NL in slugging, so that's pretty ridiculous. So
They got LeBron.
they got LeBron. They did. That was Brendan's little shout out there. The Phillies have LeBron, so that adds to the aura. But yeah, they're a clear 6-10 team in my opinion. They haven't been good enough to be at the 1-5, but they're right there. They have everything to win in October. It's just the same thing. Who are they going to be hot or not? And do you have anything to say about the Phillies? I know Luis Ariz is your guy.
I mean, he's cool. I mean, he's batting .321. He's leading the NL. He's doing really, really, really good.
Angel Martinez grand slam live against the White Sox, baby.
And that's a great ad. But what I'd say about Luis is what's pretty cool. Don Mattingly switched it up. He's having him bat cleanups, so he's getting a lot of RBIs because he's just a real good eye and a real good contact guy. But what's really crazy is a lot of people didn't want to trade for Luis because he was really sticking to that whole I want to be a second baseman, even though he's got a lot of games at first base. And the Phillies said, okay. They moved Bryson Stott to first base. They moved Bryce Harper to right field, and they really get him moving.
Yeah, and they obviously got it from this team we're going to talk about next in the San Francisco Giants, who have been just definition stinky this year. They got a bunch of talent, and they dumped their guys. They got rid of Luis Ariz. They got rid of Robbie Ray, those are the right moves. They were on their last years. They're just in a weird spot now. They just need young guys to show up. They got Rafael Devers still. They got Willie Adames. Like, they have talent there. It's just not showing up. I don't know how much you have to really add about the Giants.
Not really. They were kind of stinking it up.
They gave us Pat Bailey.
They did give us Pat Bailey. I love Pat Bailey. Great guy. But the weird thing is that they're doing so rough that fans aren't even talking about how they're selling. Fans are talking about how Harrison Bader's crashing into a fire truck on a scooter. And they're really not trying to do anything with the roster. Like, they're not trying to pay guys. That's why they sold out. And the reason why I brought up Bader is because he's under investigation by the team. They're trying to null and void his $10 million salary for next year, and they already nullified the remaining $1.7 on his contract for this year. So they're really just trying to cut costs and, I guess, start tanking.
Yeah, they're on the tank time, so we'll see what's up with the Giants. They got Buster Posey running stuff. You hope it works out for him, but we'll see. I mean, next up we got the Pittsburgh Pirates, who made a bunch of moves. Started off hot. They're out of the playoff race now. Doesn't really look like they're going to be getting back in it. Skeens is kind of having his first real rough patch, and the offense has cooled down. It's just, I don't know. I was rooting for them, but they're still near 500. They're not done, but I think they're 2 games under, and that's going to be tough to make the NL playoffs with that.
I'm going to be a doomer. Skeens is done. He's got,
Whoa.
I think, only 5 pitches in his last 7 starts that are above 98 miles an hour. The fastball's gone. So dudes are really just getting an eye on him. I was actually in Cincinnati last week. I watched the Pirates play the Reds. Pirates are just kind of on a downgrade. Blade got a big home run off Skeens. They were really just cracking Skeens in the beginning of the game. And on top of that,
Skeens was getting cracked.
Bad. And on top of that, Brandon Lau loses the game for them. Should have been a ground out to go to the 9th. And instead of that, bounces out of his hand, completely drops for an error, and Sal Stewart makes it to first base. And on top of that, gets 2 RBIs in and ties the game.
Yeah, it's been rough for the Pirates lately, but they still do have hope. And I think they've been better than all those teams at the 21-25 so far. So I'll give them their respect. And then next up we got the Rangers, who actually, they're still in the play. I thought they were doing worse than they really are. They're in the playoffs. They're right there. They're 500. They didn't really do anything at the deadline, though.
Got rid of
They got rid of
Varsho.
Josh Smith. No, they got rid of Josh Smith, who was a good utility guy for him. They didn't really do anything else. They tried to trade
Oh,
DeGrom. They
got
tried to sell, but
Hoppy from the Angels. That's why I was
Okay.
liking
They
so
got
bad. I knew they
Ohapi.
got to trade somewhere.
Yeah, not
Obviously,
really.
the whole Jacob DeGrom, no trade clause. Didn't want to leave. Hashtag Ranger for life. Weird look though. They were obviously trying to make a move and for the future, and I think DeGrom saw that they're a few games behind the
Yeah.
Astros, and they could make a playoff.
I'm gonna make a move already. I'm gonna move the Padres up. And I'm gonna move the Rangers to the 16-20. And I'm gonna put them. I can't put them too far down because they got the same record as the Tribe and a lot of the Central teams. But just in how the team tried to sell, I don't know. I just don't trust this team just because of the last 2 years. So because of that, they're going to be chilling at that low 20 range. So the Rays are up next, the top team in the AL pretty much the whole year. It's kind of tough where you want to put them because they've been up and down, but they've been consistent enough to still be a top 3-4 record in the MLB. So you got to give them their respect, but I don't feel like there's too much to talk about besides
Not
just the
really.
Rays have been the Rays. They got Yandy.
They got a pitcher, right? Tyler.
They got
Wells.
Arnaudo. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did get the reliever out of Baltimore. They got – who else? They got a starting pitcher, too. I forget who they picked up for starting pitcher-wise. They did get Liam Hicks from the Marlins. So they made moves to win now. They're really not a team you want to play in the playoffs. But, again, they don't really have that star power. The starting pitching has been amazing out of nowhere this year. No one really expected it to be this good this year. So, I don't know. We'll see how it holds up in the playoffs. I'm not super optimistic about them. But I feel like you got to give them the respect to at least put them at that 5 or 6 range.
Yeah, really. I don't really have too much on the Rays. They got 1 or 2 guys. That's about it. They got a pitcher. They'll turn them into something good probably. They've been really turning out pitchers. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they turned 2 rotation guys. 2 bullpen guys into starters. So, I mean, they make it work for dudes.
Yeah, I'm going to move them to the 5 range. I'm going to make some other movements. I think I'm going to put the Brewers in front of the Braves, too, right now. How you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, they're about to be
Yeah, I mean,
30 games above 500. You could argue they're above the Cubs, I guess. I don't know.
yeah. Well, now we got the hottest team in baseball ever. And that's not a joke. In the last 36 games, they have the best record ever in MLB fucking history. I mean, you don't hear that a lot. And this team's hot. They might be getting a little too hot before the playoffs. A lot of guys just showing up out of nowhere. Roman Anthony still hurt, and if he comes back and they add that, the team's got a really serious lineup. They got depth. They got players at every single position, but I don't fully trust this team still. I think they're getting hot now. I think they're going to burn out a little bit before the playoffs. I definitely see them in the playoffs, but they're not going to win the division. But they'll be real close with the Yankees there, where they end up finishing.
It's all about Adley. Is it a big boom or is it a big bust for them? I mean, it was Adley to move, but who I really like though is Cedar Rafaela. He hit 4 home runs in total against the Dodgers last week. That was crazy. Didn't really do too crazy against the White Sox the next week, but he's big bat and a great fielder.
Yeah. So that's really about it for the White Sox. I mean, Rafaela has been balling out. I am a Rafaela enjoyer. Contreras has been balling. I'm trying to think who's really been showing up for them. They traded for Curtis Mead and he got hurt right away. I mean, that's just brutal. But starting pitch has been and Garrett Crochet. If Garrett Crochet and Roman Anthony come back, this team could be a lot scarier than I'm giving them credit for. But it's easier said than done to just also come back from injury for so long and just be back to your normal all-star self. So they're at a good place now in that 7-6 range. So we're going to go on to the stinky Cincinnati Reds, who did nothing at the deadline. They started off okay this year and they just fizzled out. And last year they made the playoffs. They snuck in over the Mets and they had hope. I mean, they got a young team and it just still nothing really happened. They got the young pitching. They just can't keep winning games consistently enough to be really a playoff team at all, or even think about being a scary one.
I mean, they're doing okay. Hunter Green came back for him. That's a big plus. But he's doing good and bad at times. I know J.J. Bleday just hit his 20th home run, and Sal Stewart just hit his 25th home run. I mean, just it's all about Sal Stewart. Like, he's a good dude, really big bat for them, and he's huge. Like, it's all about that future. They tried to chef out Ellie, but they were saying they only want major leaguers in return. They want no minors, which is weird because they were saying that, like, they want to make a playoff push, but they're fourth in their division. I mean, I think they're still behind the Cardinals. Like, it's just weird move for the organization.
Yeah, I think they're last. Yeah, they've been last in the Central for a little bit, so they're just, they got the superstar in Ellie De La Cruz, but not too. I mean, yeah, they got Hunter Green and Chase Burns coming up. They got the guys, but it's still not. It's not enough around them to be serious enough. And next up, we got the stinky Colorado Rockies, who. They got guys showing up here and there. Mickey Moniak's playing good. Hunter Goodman's obviously balling out. But nothing to really add. They didn't do too much at the deadline. Hunter Goodman was talked about, but he was getting hurt. So, yeah, I mean, the Rockies and the Angels are kind of just been the same thing for the past few years. Just lower-tier teams. Just, they got a guy here and there, but nothing too serious.
Everybody's asking why didn't they sell? Why? You can get a big return on Mickey Moniak. I know he got hurt earlier this year, but he's a big bat. Then obviously you have Hunter Goodman. He's a catcher. He's got decent defense, but who really cares about that when your catcher's hitting 20-plus home runs on the year? It's like they never know what they want to do. They have guys who are good, who can fill enough seats for them, and that's really about what they care about.
Yeah. So, the Reds are, the fans are not happy with the owners or the management at all, and can't really blame them. It's just been a very frustrating year for them. But I am looking at our tier list, and we got the 2 bottom tiers filled out, but the Kansas City Royals need to be on this bottom tier. So we need to move somebody up then. I feel like the Cardinals could deserve to go up into this range. Royals are at the bottom.
Could you say Miami to go up a little bit just for their future? They got good guys. They did pretty hot this year.
No, I think.
Why am I forgetting his name? Something Ruiz almost threw a perfect game against the A's, and then everybody freaked out. All the fans booed when they pulled him out in the 7th. They got some pitchers. They got Alcantara. He's their number one.
I think they should stay. I think they're okay where they're at, though. They're okay at 22. And we got the Tigers up. We got a bunch of AL Central coming up, and it's kind of all the same for all the same thing for the 3 of them, where they get a good week or two coming up, and they're winning the division. So I don't know where you really have these. I mean, the White Sox are definitely top of these 3 teams we have up next. They're going to go in the 6 to 10 tier. They've been leading the Central enough this year to deserve that 10 spot, in my opinion.
3 guys with 20 home runs. They have big bats. They just got pitchers. They got Luis Castillo from Luis Castillo, from the Mariners. They got to be in that almost fringe top 5 spot almost. I mean, the AL Central.
They don't have enough for that, but they've been good enough to definitely deserve the top 10. I could agree with that.
That's really all I was looking at.
And then with the Tigers, the Tigers and the Twins are in the same boat. They're gonna end up in that 11. They're gonna end up in that 15 to 20 range, really, where they've been consistent enough all year to still be fighting for playoff spots, and neither team did. Well, the Tigers sold at the deadline, but they're still playing good. The Twins didn't really do too much. I'm going to put the Tigers in that 14 range. I think we move the Orioles up, and then the Twins will go down to here.
All they're really looking for is just if Zaire Hope can pan out.
They need a lot
really
more
about
than
it.
that, though.
But then it's like, then you do some little Googling around, and then you find out in all these big blockbuster trades that the Dodgers are making, and then they're getting all these huge returns and chefing out prospects. Nobody's really turned out besides Yordan Alvarez and then a guy named Alex Verdugo, who did good on the Red Sox, but kind of fizzled out when he got traded to the Yankees. But it's like, who's in their farm? Like, they say that they have a good farm because all those guys have experience because the Dodgers are so good because they're not taking anybody up from the farm. So it's like, It's all just what they got it for Scooble.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the Tigers are at a point where they're not going to be buying too much in the next few years. They got enough young guys coming up and enough good guys that are already showing up in the MLB to be confident that you don't need to be buying in the offseason and trading for a lot. So they're going to be a good team for years to come, but I don't think they're going to be winning the division a bunch. I don't think they'll be a scary playoff team unless they really try to buy back. But they obviously showed they don't want to do that with getting rid of Scooble. And, yeah, so they're going to end up in that 14 spot. And then the Yankees were the final spot who, you know, the Yankees have been the Yankees. They got the good starting pitching. Aaron Judge has been hurt, but the offense still bombing. Ben Rice balling out, but they just don't feel like that. It was because, you know, when you're losing the best pitcher in the league, or the best hitter in the league, I'm sorry, for 2 months, obviously your team's not going to feel normal. So you could argue when he does come back that this team could easily be a World Series contender, but I'm just not confident in this team fully.
All I know is that the Yankees need a catcher. You had at one point Ben Rice saying like, "Hey, I'll play catcher full time if the team needs me to." Like he doesn't care about first base anymore. And they made some small moves. They got Elliot Ramos. They got a few other guys I can't think of off the top of my head. They called up.
They got Elliot Ramos and Luis Robert. Who Luis Robert's going to be a dog, but it just added to a spot where they already have a surplus in DH and first base. So the catcher and Ben Rice situation, I don't think it's going to get panned out this year, which is another reason I don't think they're going to be a serious threat at the Dodgers if they did make the World Series. But at the end of the day, it's the Yankees. They're going to be fighting for at least the ALCS. And, yeah, they made their moves. Every team has made their moves, and we have done our rankings. And I'm pretty happy with it. There's some spots where, you know, that 11 to 20 range are all teams fighting for playoff spots still. And in 2 weeks, it'll probably look completely different. But that has been the second video coming back for Basement Sports Talk. It's been Richie and AJ. We finished our MLB rankings. You got any last words to say?
No, not really. Just glad to be here. It was cool to talk about MLB for the first time. It was sweet to just get the chatter going. I don't really get to talk ball like this. You know, my girlfriend just gets to hear me yap about all this BS all the time. So cool to be with the guys and talk ball for a little bit.
Yeah, we're hoping more videos coming out consistently in the future and a little bit more MLB, as we haven't really dipped into that too much. But appreciate the listen, and we'll get to you soon.